Welcome to Conversations with CSG, the global talent podcast from CSG Talent. We interview influential figures across a wide range of innovative and impactful industry sectors worldwide, discussing career journeys, overcoming challenge, achieving success, diversity, and much more. I'm sure you'll see value in a lot of the topics we cover. So here it is. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the CSG podcast. I'm Henry. I head up the data center team here at CSG. We work specifically within the owner-operators, developers, hyperscalers, colos. And we've been following you for a couple of years and seen where you've been, see that you're fairly influential within the industry and keen to get your thoughts on a few things.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thanks for making it happen.
Absolutely.
So with you being so prominent within the market at the moment and traveling the world, seeing a lot of the kind of transformational changes that are going on, what are the most exciting trends and developments that you're seeing out there at the moment?
Trends as far as technology, trends as far as the sector itself.
I think the technology, the sector, the growth, I think everything really, it seems like a pivotal time within the data center market right now.
Absolutely. I mean, digital transformation, that was basically a dream about 5 years ago. It started to happen and it's happening quite fast. Artificial intelligence, AGI and the technologies that take, a step forward and moving at quite dramatic pace. Never really expected that we were going to be moving that fast. I mean, from 2020 to 2025. Sort of like a hockey stick effect, but then again on the same note, that's resulted into a human capital deficit. We don't have enough people to address the 300,000 people shortage that we've got currently. And then people exiting as well. There's a lot of people retiring, they're coming of age, so that's a bit scary, right? I see in some challenges besides the human capital piece in carbon, for instance, and sustainability charters. That's not really clear as to where we're going. And with the pace that we're developing and growing the infrastructure, a part of the challenge is that we don't have the right regulations and compliance standards globally. And that's going to potentially be a catastrophe if we don't start addressing those today in the very near future.
Okay. And, with those kind of tariffs and those global situations now, is that something that you feel that the whole market needs to come together on, or do you think it could be kind of dealt with on a regional basis, country by country?
I mean, tariffs are tariffs, right? I mean, we don't necessarily need to get into the whole political discussion.
Yeah.
I think everyone's so concerned, worried, and or have a strategy as it entails with their particular region or country is concerned. And that's the cost of doing business. I believe the bigger charter that needs to be addressed is the data sovereignty and the right to use data and privacy of the users and enterprise.
Yeah, absolutely. For the past sort of 4 or 5 years that I've been working within this market, we've found recently the real sort of funds behind it and kind of the growth areas. Everyone seems to be chasing the hyperscale builds. Where do you see the next opportunities within the data center market, whether that be in the US or on a global platform?
So primary markets like the US and the UK, they're going to start slowing down a bit because of capacity limitations. We're going to see significant investments and growth in Australasia and Africa.
Okay.
And
in terms of
Middle East.
The developments themselves, do you still see, investment and opportunities within edge data centers and kind of enterprise data centers outside of the sort of hyperscale builds?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, what is an edge data center? There's people in the market have actually tried to, particularly I would say the marketeers have tried to confuse this space so much. An edge data center is a data center.
Yeah.
A cloud data center is not up in the ether. It is a data center, it's a physical building. A hyperscaler is no different than an enterprise space and or a co-location or wholesale environment. It is a data center at the end of the day. It's the application stack and the distribution of application that's a bit different. They might have cloud services, centralized versus decentralized computing. A data center is a data center is a data center, but we have made it so bloody difficult for people to understand. That's creating the deficit and confusion. Okay, what do? I mean, cloud's not up in the ether, is it? It's actually
no.
Yeah, it's a physical building somewhere.
Data center build.
Well, what is a hyperscale data center? It is just a data center. Whether it be an IDF, MDF, whatever the case might be, it's all an environment that's computing data, and that's a data center.
I guess the edge, my understanding of edge when we kind of came into it was a more achievable deployment of data centers. You could use existing buildings on a smaller scale as opposed to having the power demands for a 100 megawatt development, if you like. But it feels like that market has kind of subsided slightly in the wake of these hyperscale developers gobbling up the land and the power and the demand in certain markets.
Yes and no. Edge is always going to be there. Edge has always has been there. The idea behind edge compute or data center really is that you get closer to the user so you can get data faster to the user. So it's sort of like a node basically at the end of the day, but it is a data center. So again, going back to over 5 decades of compute and data center history, every decade we go close to the user, then we come back. And there's going to be information that's going to need to be processed for faster speed of data closer to the user, and that's the data that's going to reside in an edge environment.
Okay. And do you see that as a growth area in the market at the moment?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it's a subset of the core sector, right? We are going to need to get closer to the user. I'll think of it this way. What is this? What is this device?
Yeah. Telephone.
No,
the heart
it's a
of
data
everything.
center. It is basically a data center. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to be actually, and you currently do process data on your mobile device.
Yeah. With a server in a tiny little micro server.
Exactly. The data center is palm of your hands. It's just it's another node. So, what's the user experience like these days? You want information now, and you want your information at your fingertips.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So getting back to, if you were a new entrant into the data center market, what would your advice be to differentiate yourself from other owner operators?
If I was a new entrant, as it entails to a provider, the biggest thing that needs to be addressed in the differentiator would be, in my opinion, to address the efficiency ratios. And what I mean by that is that we've got so much stranded capacity in the existing designs and the approaches that results into significant wastage, both financially and a negative impact to the planet. So, like you're playing Lego blocks. I mean, it's sort of like, you go to a buffet, right? You don't want to eat everything. You can't really eat everything. Pick and choose what you're going to eat. Don't waste. So have that as a mindset and build a model that's basically scalable as the needs change, whether it be for the business or the market. Measure everything. So scopes 1, 2, 3, measure everything and share that data with your customers, because carbon is a big issue, sustainability is a big issue, and we need to look forward. We can't keep doing what we have been doing for the last 4 decades of compute. So build a model that's scalable, build a model that's sustainable.
Okay. And do you think that comes down to how we build these sites as well, to almost standardize a building format so that we can actually build these efficiently? Even competitors coming against together and developing a format that works, and you can land and expand quickly and more effectively and more efficiently.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I typically have given this example of Elon Musk. Any political or personal biases aside, the fact of the matter is that he actually put Tesla on the roadmap, right? Nobody really knew before he acquired it. The whole EV charger was killed in all primary markets in the early 90s. And the way he went about that is like, here's my intellectual property, here's what we're doing, like it, build it, be my competitors. What do we have in a data center? There's no bloody intellectual property that we've got. It's 4 walls, raised floor or slab, racks, servers, routers, switches, networking equipment, some thermal management, that's very basic. What's the intellectual property? Nothing. Everybody builds the same thing. It's lights out operation. So why don't we share any advancements across the board? There's plenty of business. I guarantee you. There's so much business that no one's going to hurt anyone's feelings or take business away from anyone. The challenge that we've got right now is the fact that we don't have enough supply. There isn't enough power that's available. So let's continue to standardize and build together. Everyone's going to get their fair share.
And that would also mitigate kind of supply chain issues, I guess, that we're all experiencing in these markets where competitors are making similar products, delivering at the same time, in the same way, so why don't we standardize that and go, whether it's Vertiv or Schneider or whoever it is, this is how we want our products, that's how we do it, and we build it together as a data center collective industry standard.
Absolutely. I mean, let's look outside of our vertical for a minute. The EV market, there is Tesla, there's Polestar, there's a bunch of other electric vehicle manufacturers. I mean, they have not had a negative impact on anyone's business. They have earned their rights and their stripes. So why can't we do the same thing in our space?
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of leads me on to our sort of next area. Tell me what you are working on the board. It's the Nomad that you're working on.
So I'm the managing director and the CEO of Nomad Futurist, which is a non-profit organization. I do sit on the advisory council with Infrastructure Masons. Infrastructure Masons was started to partially address the human capital piece, but really work on the social accord and the climate accord. And our strategic partnership is to address in a very systematic way. I'm a firm believer of habits and muscle memory. I believe that starts very early on in our lives. We end up being who or where we grew up and who we surround ourselves with. So our charter as a non-profit or philanthropy organization is to demystify technology for the masses and create that level of understanding where we do things for the right reasons, not just to do them. And eventually that's going to result into taking corrective actions as people grow up or mature, whether it be sustainability, climate accord, or social accord. So the collaboration between the two organizations is that we pass that knowledge, the tribal knowledge that we have accumulated as a sector early on. We build those good memories, muscle memories early on, so people do the right thing for the right reasons versus continue to put band-aids that the existing accord is, right? I mean, something is broken, fix it, put money and people on it, fix it and move on. Yet we don't know the intercomplexities of the equation that you might think that you have fixed one thing, but it's actually disrupting and breaking others. And that's where we're heading. So that's what really the collaboration is, to work 360 degrees in every single potential angle that we do things for the right reason.
Where did this start, your sort of philanthropic sort of activities?
As it entails to me. I was a corporate guy for a long time, got sucked into the corporate culture, chasing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, and some personal changes in life that is like I've had 3 heart attacks in the last 11 years, been dead a couple of times, been on life support, walked away with multiple surgeries, incision of stents, pacemaker, to extraction of the stent in the pacemaker and getting a quadruple bypass. A different perspective on life. We're not supposed to be doing, at least in my humble opinion, what the society and the social influence continue to teach us and promote. No one's going to remember that I built the big baddest data center or technology stack if I don't make the history books, right?
Yeah.
And what's our purpose here? I believe our purpose is actually to be fair to the planet, the life that we've been given, and potentially try to make this place a better place and just generally do good things for each other and everybody around us, for the humankind, and help improve the quality of life in society.
Yeah, there's an incentive right there. Yeah, I wasn't aware of, so thanks for enlightening me on there. With regards to kind of your previous corporate history, you'll have seen the huge investment that's kind of come into the data center market and more recently AI. Do you feel that this sort of market is at the risk of the kind of bubble bursting here?
I don't believe so. I mean, we've had a couple of instances since 2000. I believe we have matured up as a society and a sector. We are not just spending money to spend money. I mean, of course, there are people and companies out there in private equity and VCs that don't mind the higher risk, high return, but that's just the nature of the game. I really don't believe that this is going to burst anytime soon. Now, nothing is 100%. The fact of the matter is that if we can continue to do what we're doing without making some of the basic changes pertaining to carbon neutrality charters, social accord charters, and not having enough power, that's potentially going to result into some challenges, but not from a financial distress, but from the climate accord piece. So I do see, at least for the next decade, the market to be steady and growing at the CAGR that it's been growing.
Okay. And with that in mind, I mean, we've obviously seen an upward trajectory in kind of the pace in which this has grown. One of the biggest areas, which I'm sure you get asked all the time, is the talent attraction and retention part, which is causing issues, certainly from a headhunter point of view. We come across it on a daily basis. What do you feel we could do as an industry to attract more people and also diversity, something that we're missing in this market? Is there something you could do, something we could do to attract more diversity into this market?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we are doing as Nomad Futurist as a foundation is to demystify technology for the masses. So why don't you want to get into medical space at your age? Why can't Henry be a doctor or a surgeon? You can be. And the reason why you want to do it, because it's complicated. There's that fear factor. It's just human psychology. It's so bloody difficult. I don't want to learn another trade. I've not grown around it. So there is that lack of comfort. So one of the things that we are doing is actually we are trying to make education free and accessible to anybody and everybody globally. So we launched an academy earlier this year with the idea of demystifying it and then providing tools and resources for younger generation or generation that's ready to get into the workforce or people that are in transition, whereby it creates that level of self-confidence that I can start learning at a 4th grade level and I'm not going to be judged, and it's going to be simple enough that I can get the basics and general ideas of how technology works and potentially find a fit myself. I mean, that's how kids grow up into being adults and getting into the workforce. I mean, we see that around us every day. And then one of the other things that we're trying to do is actually eat our own dog food. And what I mean by that is that we are a data-driven sector. Everything is ones and zeros, bunch of ones and zeros, right? So if we've got some sort of user engagement and they're coming into our space, let's put career pathways in front of them. And let's give them a platform that they can scale up and skill up from. So that's really our charter. What the industry needs to do is actually, instead of doing all of these philanthropy efforts or recruitment efforts, let's try to unify. Let's get the voice a bit louder, because it sort of gets lost with all the social media hype and all the platforms that are currently available. And there's no really competition. Let's come together as one and create these standards and make resources available to people. So, give you an example. Back in the day, there used to be a town whisperer. Does that job exist?
No.
I would answer it, no, but yes. So the town whisperer is not walking your city block telling the town what happened the day before. You've got that available right here on your mobile device. Everybody now is a town whisperer, right? Mm-hmm. The town whisperer job, though might have diminished, has actually created a lot more jobs. It's actually helped us build a data center, right? So the challenge that we have, particularly in our sector, is that jobs that existed yesterday potentially won't exist today or tomorrow. But they are redefining jobs. They're creating more opportunities that didn't know yesterday. So, did you actually have a chief artificial intelligence officer yesterday? No. Today you do. That might change into chief artificial augmented generative intelligence tomorrow. I mean, that title, that role, that responsibility is going to change, right? So we need to be able to provide tools for people to not only scale up, but scale up as well. And that requires to building those pathways. So that's one of the things that we're doing, and that's where the industry needs to come together. We also need to get away as a sector from the mindset of my product, my service is better than everybody else and it's unique. No, it's not. It's not. I mean, let's take a look at computer room air conditioning. What does it do at the core of it? It cools the room. Yeah. It's just an air conditioner, right? Now, you might do a few things better. You might actually put different fan drives, different motors that are probably more energy efficient. You might change coils from round coils to oval coils for better velocity, better pressure. Those are details. But at that core of it, thermal management is thermal management is thermal management. Make it easy, make it uniform, and share information across organizations, across platforms, without it being branded as one company or another. So what is that going to do?
Do you feel enough is being done at the grassroots level, that even kind of, within schooling and college and those kind of things, to highlight the opportunities that there are within the data center market in terms of career opportunities, earning potentials? And if so, at what level do you think we need to start educating more? Does it need to be started at curriculum level at high school? Is it college level? What are your thoughts on that?
So it's a very deep question. The educational sector has not changed since the second industrial revolution, and we are entering the fifth.
Right, yeah.
And the educators have not been willing to make those changes because they do not understand our sector, because we've made it so bloody complicated and we do not get good media out of it. Now, sort of like have a self plugin over here, we are taking the approach, and the way we define it is there's three different areas that need to be addressed. There's immediate need, there's a short-term need, and then the long-term. The immediate need is to get people into the space very quickly. Industries around us are shrinking. There is exodus in a lot of other industries because of technology being adapted. Let's just pick up on agriculture and logistics, right? I mean, we've got drones with AI integrated in it that are managing farms now. Before, we would have several hundred people walking the farm to collect data and then make human decisions. Those people could be potentially brought into our space. All what they need is a bit of education and experience. The second phase is the college students. That's the workforce that's got to be replacing the existing deficit, and no one's telling them about data centers. So I'll give you an example. Last year, we were actually at an event at Data Cloud Congress in the United States, and I had brought in roughly about 20 plus students from the University of Texas, Arlington, that were mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and nuclear engineers that were getting ready to get into the workforce, and they had zero idea what a data center was. Yet, when they came at the conference and started meeting and started actually just grabbing the basic ideas, they were extremely excited. I would say about 35% have actually entered into the workforce and working in data centers now. The same thing applies to the younger generation. They do not know. I mean, they're being taught, oh, you've got to be a doctor, you've got to be a dentist, you've got to be a firefighter, you've got to be an attorney. No one's saying that you got to get into the data center space. So the way we are going about it is that we actually go out, globally speaking, and participate in parent-teacher conferences. We've got education days, we've got industry days. So we'll go and speak and engage at schools, colleges, universities around the world. As a matter of fact, yesterday we were in Portland, Oregon. There was roughly about 400 educators across Portland community colleges that had no idea what a data center was. We took maybe about 24, 25 of them to visit a data center locally as well. Guess what? They end up becoming our advocates. So they're actually going to be sharing it within their local communities, what a data center means, what it does, how does it affect our lives. And they're also going to be sharing that information with their students. That's an opportunity for us to come back again and visit them. So what does the industry need to do? Industry needs to work with organizations like us that are committed to actually spreading the word and getting our voice louder and sharing what this really means to the existing society and the culture, and what do we need to do for tomorrow.
And I guess does that almost kind of tie back also to standardizing the approach to actually how we develop these? You know, to look at, even if you're not that qualified, we could do a skills first type, entry into the market. If we standardize the way we develop these, it makes it less intimidating for somebody to come in and feel they've got an opportunity within the data center market. I guess that all is tied together in terms of talent attract, better economics, and actually better for the environment as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, standardization for us as a sector is imperative.
Okay. And, looking at over the past sort of 5 years, I know we've talked about the trajectory of the kind of growth over the last sort of 10, 15 years, but over the last 5 years, we've seen deal sizes go from, tens of megawatts to 100 megawatts to now multiple gigawatts. With the power constraints and skill shortage and supply chain demands, where do you see this industry in the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, if you can't see, money is cheap, money is easy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that's not the problem. We do have, as you mentioned, two core concerns that need to be addressed. Start with power. I mean, connectivity, fine. Water, okay. But power is a major concern. So what's holding us back is the lack of power, the lack of the utilities upgrading their infrastructure globally. With some of the recent changes, as we've seen with the current political climate, and no political bias over here, but the current US administrator approving 400 gigawatts of power, nuclear that had been sitting, forever, the executive order whereby it's okay to build nuclear. They started to change a few things around, at least in the primary market, such as the United States. which of course has a significant influence in other markets as well. That people are going to start thinking, okay, well, we can't actually get power the way we used to. We've got to make some major changes, whether it be hydrogen, natural gas, nuclear, whatever the case might be. Let's explore those opportunities. So that's potentially going to open the floodgates to start building more. But that's at least 5 years out. I do see within the next 5 to 10 years that we're going to continue to building even more. The last piece of the puzzle is the human capital deficit. We don't have enough people. And it's not people at the compute layer, it's people at the physical layer. So we need mechanics, we need plumbers, we need builders, we need the blue collar jobs. And that's where we are going to run into problems. So what's that's going to do? That's going to increase the cost of building significantly, which is okay, I guess. But I also believe that that's going to result into secondary and emerging markets come to the forefront. So, for instance, Kenya is a good example. Kenya never actually existed as a technology country on the roadmap. I just found out yesterday that there is 30 gigawatts of free power or accessible power right now in Kenya. So guess what? The hyperscaler is going to start looking into that area. But what's the problem there? Okay, so we can build it cheap. We've got power there. We've got the government support. We've got the land. But what is it that we do not have? We don't have the human capital. And how many expats are going to move to Kenya? Not very many. We need to build local, right? So where are those local resources coming from? But they don't have the skill set, they don't have the education. So now those projects are going to come on a screeching halt. Or we're going to start funding resources from abroad and they're going to cost an arm and a leg. So the cost to build is going to be as much as it's going to be in Northern California or Northern Virginia. So what's the advantage, right? So we've got to build those skill sets globally and get people that are local to the region to be a part of the space.
And I guess that ties back to what you're doing at the moment in order to kind of get those guys upskilled within the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
And do you see the next growth, do you see it continuing in the same trajectory, or is it going to kind of tail off, do you believe?
I believe it's going to continue growing. I mean, theoretically speaking, or at least some numbers that I've read, there's sub 40% of the entire world being connected with some sort of a device that connects to the internet or compute. I believe by 2050, with over 9.2 billion people, everyone's going to be connected. There's going to be an internet bubble. So what does that tell you? I mean, it's a very good story. We haven't even gone halfway through just from a connectivity perspective. Let's start thinking about the application stack. I mean, the number of applications are going to rise from 25 million applications in the Apple and Google store to 250 million applications by 2050. What does that tell you? Data consumption, data usage is going to be much higher. Currently, I think I did a study that an average user around the world is processing roughly about 2 gigabytes of data a month. A fairly large number. By 2050, it's supposed to be 2 terabytes with all the connected devices that we're all going to have. So what does that mean? More data centers, more data sets, more technology, and that means that we're going to be growing at that hockey stick effect for a period of time. Now, not to necessarily make things complicated, but I also believe within the next years there's going to be a major shift in the industry. And that shift is going to be moving from HPC's environment of what we are seeing right now with NVIDIA chips and high-power computing, so on and so forth, with rack densities increasing, to a potential move to quantum computing, which would be a redefinition of the industries. Yeah, we're going to have this hockey stick effect, a stabilization curve, and then as quantum is streamlined and mass distributed, there's going to be a re-architecture of how we've actually built data centers, or how we're going to build the future state of the data centers. And then at that point in time, we're going to see another hockey stick effect.
Yeah. And again, I guess another skill shortage issue a little bit there, supply chain, people getting up to speed with what quantum computing is and what components go into a quantum compute. Yeah, interesting times ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think our lifetime is amazing. I mean, we are building the future. I'm certainly concerned about the next generation, the generation after. So we've got to build those muscle memories today. We've got to build that education platform today.
I think that's a message to your kids, isn't it? You know, it's a great industry to be part of. It's totally future-proof. There's great opportunities within it. So let's start it now and then see where that can be in the next 20, 30 years from here.
Exactly. I mean, I think you make a great point. I think from future-proofing, if I was to compare us to any other sector or vertical, would be food and beverage. I mean, you eat in bad times, you drink in bad times, and you eat a lot more in good times, and you drink a lot more when you're happy.
Yeah. So let's stay happy then, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You're going to consume data no matter what, good, bad, or ugly times. Data is now a part of your DNA.
It's easier than being a doctor as well, though, right?
Much easier, absolutely. A lot more funner.
Yeah. Fun, easy, good opportunities. I think it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
And by the way, I saw your golf shot this morning on LinkedIn.
The Happy Gilmore too, yes, that was in honor of Happy himself, yes.
How many takes did that take?
That was one take.
Nice.
I mean, I'm an alright golfer. I think probably like a +0.1 right now. I've got good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, happy days. It certainly looked like it on that angle anyway.
Yeah, there was no media frenzy or any ChatGPT or media modification. It was what it was.
There was no AI.
No AI.
Good. Well, look, thanks very much. I do have a closing question that we always ask on this podcast. What is the most valuable piece of advice that you've ever received throughout your career?
Boy, I mean, there's a lot of them, but if I was to pass this on to anybody, let your imperfection be your perfection. I mean, we don't have the right answers. Be transparent, be open to learning, and there's no right way of doing it. Believe in yourself and do it, and you'll find the right tools, the right people, the right mentor to help get you back to where you need to be. And don't be afraid of anything. Just.
And who gave you that advice, or is that one of yours?
It's a combination of things and experiences, but I would certainly give my dad a lot of that credit. I mean,
nice.
There's a lot of blending in from different talks and advices. My dad used to tell me one thing, and that is, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. So just do it. I mean, get your data points and make the decision. There's no reason to sit on things. If your heart is the right place, it will lead you to the right place. You might make mistakes along the way, but don't let them hold you back.
Love that, Nabeel. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Well, look, thank you again. I appreciate that you're busy. I'll leave you in peace at 5:40 this morning, your time.
Brilliant. Well, this has actually certainly been a lot of fun.
Will do. Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it.
That was Conversations with CSG. I'm sure many professionals will relate and see value in the insights shared. Stay tuned for further insights from industry-leading professionals on our podcast, Conversations with CSG. Thanks for listening.